This is what happens when you don't have Kenny Pickett anymore. This is the result. With Kenny, we win this thing going away. If he started the game, unlike Justin Fields, he's probably got 2 scores, 2 tutties, a buck 20, and his completion percentage is 100%. Goes like 9 for 9, 10 for 10, something like that. No Kenny, no perfect preseason. In fact, he threw a touchdown today for the Eagles, and I think they're up in the game. So be careful what you wish for. No Kenny, no perfect preseason. But no, that was a mess of a game, man. That was a mess. You got the bad snaps early on. Kyle Allen missed a wide open touchdown to Calvin Austin, a muffed punt. Lackadaisical on defense pretty much throughout the whole game. Couldn't really stop a nosebleed. You had CJ Stroud carving us up, then Davis Moses carving us up. I guess Case Keenum didn't do much, but the main two guys, Stroud and Davis Mills, the two quarterbacks that were in for most of the game, yeah, they had their way with our defense. But maybe we needed that, though, at this point. We were winning too much in the preseason. Needed a heat check like this. Because you look at these last 2 years, not only were we 3-0 in 2023, we were 3-0 in 2022. And what did those preseason results get us in the regular season when the games actually mattered? I mean, if you just look at last year, because not only the records, like you could look at the records, that's one side of things in the preseason. The 3-0 record last year, the 3-0 record the year before, 6-0 these last 2 seasons. But just how we looked last year, though, man, how we looked last year really got us excited. And that's why it's a perfect example as to why I'm not really stressing about this game. This was a heat check. This was a little wake-up call. Or at least, I guess last year technically was the wake-up call as to why preseason doesn't matter. Because you would have thought, based off how Kenny did, he was going to be an MVP candidate, and how the offense looked, we were going to be putting up 30 to 35 points a game. Now, we were putting up around 30 points a game, but that wasn't until Mason got in for the last few games of the season. Took us a while. So we saw how that offense looked, how the team looked in the regular season for at least about, 75 to 80% of those games. And it wasn't how we looked in preseason. We did still finish 10-7 last year. Like, that's not a terrible record. I know people want to really rag on what the Steelers have looked like these last few seasons, but 10-7, not bad. Getting in the playoffs, having a chance. I think we finished the season pretty strong. You saw what we were capable of if we got some competent quarterback play. But again, preseason wasn't a good indicator of how we were going to be last year. It really was not. So again, that's why I'm not really stressing this one too bad. Maybe we needed this in a way to fine-tune some stuff, just to get some things back in line, get the ducks in a row. But at the same time, when you're watching the black and gold play, you want to see them do good, right? No matter who it is, even if it's the third and fourth stringers, you have no clue what their names are. You want to see some touchdowns on the board. You want to see more points for the good guys than the bad guys. But who's tuning in, man? What's the word? Who do we got in the house? We're talking Aiyuk. I knew it. I was talking about that earlier today. I did a pregame show before the kickoff at 7 o'clock today. I did a pregame show at 6:30. I started off by saying, we got football. It's back. But honestly, there's more stuff to talk about outside of today's game. And Aiyuk's one of those things. Obviously, Juju got released by the Patriots, and then we had Marcus Golden retire. So, I just look in the chat right now. Half the comments aren't even about the game. We're talking about Aiyuk and what the Browns offered him. 1-0 Creation said, Browns offer Amari a second and a fifth. Was that? Wait. Are we serious? That was just for Aiyuk. Is that true? Man, no wonder the 49ers like the Browns offer. No wonder. The Browns are fleecing themselves there. Why the hell would they do that? That's a stupid trade. Are you even sure that Aiyuk is better than Amari Cooper? To that degree, where you're also offering a second and a fifth, and then you're going to have to pay Brandon Aiyuk and give him a 3-4 year extension of close to $30 million per year. Wouldn't you rather just keep Amari Cooper? I don't know, man. No wonder the Niners wanted to do that. So what's our offer? Our offer is not that, because you see all the reports. The 49ers are not thrilled with what we're offering them. And I get it. If the Browns are offering that, and who knows what the Patriots were offering them, ours doesn't even come close. I don't think ours comes close, because we're not offering a play. One, we're not offering a player. We're just offering picks, and we're not offering a first-round pick. So it's probably a second and another day 2, day 3 pick. That's probably what our deal is, and that's why the Niners are looking for a third team to get involved so they can get a player in return. Bonta 36 asked, don't understand why Fields was pulled so early. I thought the same thing, and we're going to talk about that in a second here. 6 screens. Are you talking about us? I think there were. I think the Texans ran some screen plays too. Are you talking about for the whole game? 6 screens for the whole game by both teams? Yeah, there were some screen passes. 6. So you're saying 6 from us? It was 6 total from us. Was it? It didn't seem like 6. It felt like less than that, because Kyle Allen was getting the ball down the field. There were a couple with Fields, though. I will say that there were a couple screen passes with Fields. There's probably 2 or 3. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there were a few right off the bat. Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point. MBM 415 asked, how my boy Kyle Allen do? Mixed bag. He was all right. Didn't you watch the game? Why are you asking me? All right, let's get into the players here. Who are the top performers? Who are the winners and losers? Let's start with the quarterbacks then, because you guys already brought up Fields and Kyle Allen. I think Russ is QB1, dude. I didn't think Fields did bad in this game. Like, I guess you can only do so much with the 2 series and some of those bad snap exchanges. But I thought Russ was going to be QB1 anyway going into this preseason game and the rest of the preseason games and the rest of training camp. I thought no matter what Justin Fields did, Tomlin has a certain amount of respect for Russ and was going to lean on his veteran savvy, his experience, and his Hall of Fame pedigree, just because that probably brings Tomlin some comfort right now compared to what he dealt with these last couple seasons with Mitch, Kenny, and Mason. To have a Russ in here, there's a certain cachet, there's a certain like bravado aura that gets, I guess, added to the organization, added to the team, added to the offense. And I think Tomlin was going to lean on that no matter what for week 1. And that's not to say he'd stick with Russ for the whole regular season no matter what, because if Russ is stinking up the joint the first month of the season, then yeah, I'm sure he would pull him and put in Fields. But just to start off the season, I always thought it was going to be Russ. This isn't going to be a legit quarterback competition or anything. So if Fields were to potentially open Tomlin's mind up, he was going to have to ball out in these preseason games. And with this first one, he didn't really do that. It was 5 for 6, 60, was it 67 yards? I can't remember the exact number. 5 for 6, 67 yards. Should have been 6 for 6 because he had that pass to Van Jefferson on the right sideline. It was a catch. Tomlin decided not to challenge it, though. I don't know why he didn't decide to challenge it, because it's the preseason. It doesn't matter, but it was a clear catch. So Fields' stats would have been better there. The drive would have continued to go on, but he looked all right, man. For the passes that he did complete and he did attempt, good. I don't think you can have any complaints about them at all. Took a sack, but at the same time, there was pressure on him. I don't think our pass protection really did Fields any favors. And then you go to the bad snap exchanges. Who are those on? Are those more on Fields, or those more on the center being Nate Herbig? I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that, but it's just not a good look all around, and Fields is involved. I'll tell you this, though. Once Frazier got in, I didn't see any bad snaps, so that may point you in a direction that whose blame it was more between Herbig and Fields. So I'd give Fields a B. If we would have scored, I'd give him like a B plus or an A minus. The bad snap exchanges, the putting the ball on the ground, that's gonna knock the grade no matter what. But I think he did solid, man. I don't think there's really much bad you could say about it outside of the fumbles, the snap exchanges, and those may have been solely on Herbig. I don't know. But again, Fields was involved. Fields is taking those snaps, and yeah, you can't put the ball in harm's way. And that's that. But I think Russ is going to be QB1. I don't think Fields did enough here to really open the door to that degree or make it a legitimate conversation. Because now Russ, he's getting healthier. He's going to be getting more and more QB1 reps throughout practice this week, and presumably he's going to start this next preseason game. And I don't think Russ is going to do anything for himself to lose the job. And yeah, Russ is QB1. He's going to be QB1 for week 1. I don't think it's a bad decision. This isn't a knock on Fields or anything. I just think everything was weighted in Russ's favor to begin with, and this wasn't the type of performance to get the chatter really going on an open competition between Fields and Russ. He was doing everything he could in practice, though, while Russ has been limited. You got to give Fields credit for that. But with us seeing what actually happened on the field in an actual game setting and that being weighted a little bit more, just wasn't enough. But I liked what I saw. I liked what I saw in the limited time, the throws that were made, some of the scrambling, just, the athleticism that Fields can show. And honestly, that's one of the things you could maybe say about this Fields performance. It kind of is an epitome of what you've gotten from Fields throughout the first 3 years of his career in Chicago. Like, man, some ball security issues, but you got some really nice plays. Resulted in 0 points in those first 2 drives, but showed promise. Definitely showed promise. Gets you excited. But again, when it comes down to winning games and putting your trust in a guy, I'm going to go with Russ for week 1. And I think that's what Tomlin's going to do too. Fields has been intriguing, though. He's piqued my interest. I think he's piqued a lot of our interest. But this preseason game 1 just wasn't enough to have the ball rolling in a serious way of him being QB1. Kyle Allen, one of you guys brought him up in the chat. Lackluster beginning. It really wasn't good. He was missing throws all over the place. Second half came on strong, throwing the ball down the field, leading a comeback charge, but then ended it with the game-sealing interception. So he is what he is, man. He's QB3. I don't think any of us have like that high expectations for Kyle Allen. He's a quality backup. I mean, he was the backup for Buffalo. Was it last 2 seasons? It might have just been last year. I can't remember how long he's exactly been up there, but he's been a journeyman. He's been a backup. And if he's your QB3, you can have worse problems than that, man. Like that's not a bad thing at all for Kyle Allen to be your team's QB3. I'll give him like a C plus probably as a grade. Another guy we got to discuss, and I'm going to say these next few or keep these guys in like more of a positive category. We'll say these guys were winners coming out of the first preseason game. And that's Cam Johnson, man. Breath of fresh air seeing our punter booming kicks down the field and giving us a chance to actually field these punts and try to back up the offense in a way that, the field position is actually in our advantage for defense. But we didn't do that good of a job in covering those punts because he'd boom them down there and then the Texans dude would return it for like 15, 20 yards. But he did have that big time hit on Tank Dell as he was taking it down the sideline. So you like to see that. Like Pittsburgh people got to love that. When your punter could be featured on a segment like Jacked Up from back in the day, like that's a good thing. Yeah, he laid out Tank Dell, man. He really did. I got Zach Frazier we got to include here. I think part of that is because of Nate Herbig and his not so good performance. Like Frazier got all the snaps right and actually opened up some things in the run game. I think he was a big part. Charlie Batch brought this up as to why we scored late in the game on that run play from Edwards. No, it wasn't on the run play, but it was on the run play leading up to the run play that was the touchdown. It was that like 25, 30-yard run that was breakaway, and then we got it down to the goal line, and we punched it in. But that play right there was a big part due to Frazier opening things up. So, yeah, hey, I think he looked good. He looked confident out there. Played most of the game, actually. And then Van Jefferson, man, I talked about him and how he was doing in training camp. And with all this Aiyuk talk, I was intrigued to see how he'd perform actually in stadium. And he did good. He had a nice catch across the middle for 20 yards and then caught the contested one on the sideline that was ruled a no catch by the refs. But if we would have challenged it, it would have held up as a catch. So that would have been 2 receptions right there, 30 yards in the first 2 series. So, yeah, I liked what I saw from Van Jefferson. Shout out to him. So, even if we do end up trading for Aiyuk, I think Van could be a solid wide receiver 3 for us. Peyton Wilson was flying all over the field out there. He had some lapses at times. I think just some rookie stuff. He had a play or two on him in coverage, but, I mean, he showed why we were excited to draft him and why we think he was a steal in the 3rd round. DeMarvin Leal, like, yeah, he's showing that he's not messing around with this, like, make or break season. He's showing his versatility playing edge rusher, outside linebacker, could also bump him inside. That's what he did a lot at Texas A&M. I don't know if I like that for him long term here, but it should help him make the roster. What I mean by that is, like, if his most natural position is D-line, almost like the Stephon Tuitt, like the Cam Hayward mold, I don't know if bumping him out to the outside at a high clip is going to do him any good for his development at his more natural position. But looked like he slimmed down, so maybe he's built for it. Maybe he's built for it, and he could be like a one-of-a-kind type of player, Swiss Army knife across that whole defensive line. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. Like, either way, he's doing everything right so far going into year 3. Scotty Miller, 3 receptions, 47 yards. He's fast out there, good QB-friendly target. I think he was even out there on punt returns, like, later in the game. I think he's what Gunnar Olszewski wishes he was. That's who Scotty Miller is. Edwards, a running back. I liked his running style, man. I liked it coming out of Georgia whenever he picked him up as an undrafted free agent. I was like, this could be a guy that somehow sneaks on the roster. He was like the starting running back for Georgia, split some carries, but was mainly the starter and did good for them. And you see him here, 3 rushes, 28 yards, and 1 touchdown. Also had a catch. Like, you know how the running back position is. Sometimes it is plug and play, and Dejon Edwards is giving off some of those, like, Jaylen Warren vibes, you know? Early on, Jaylen Warren in his rookie season, we were all talking about the other rookie running back too. It was Mateo Durant, but Jaylen Warren kept on balling out in preseason, and Edwards, he got a good start here. Calvin Austin, like Scotty Miller, had 40 yards on the day. Yeah, he made some nice plays. Could have been even better if he came down with that catch from Kyle Allen. I'm not going to knock Calvin Austin for that one because we know he's not too tall, and Kyle Allen overthrew him on that one. It was such a wide open pass. Like, I think he overthought it and, like, tried to lead Calvin Austin. I don't think he realized that Calvin Austin's like 5'7" 3/4 and threw it up to where it would be a jump ball for Calvin Austin. If that was Pickens would catch that in his chest, toe tap it, and that'd be 6. But yeah, that was a bummer. It was just not a good pass by Kyle Allen. Just a real big missed opportunity there, because then Texans get the ball. We stopped them, but that's when they punted it, and Quez Watkins muffed the punt. That was absolutely atrocious. He might not – I don't know. I was going to say he might not be on the team by Monday or Tuesday, but I don't think the NFL makes you cut the roster down throughout these preseason games as they go on week by week. They used to. Like, you'd have to cut down the roster to like 70-something and then eventually to like 53. But now you could have 90 for, I think, the rest of August, all the way up until the cut deadline. So he might still stick around, but that was bad. That was not good. That was because not only did he have the muff punt, but then he had a fair catch where there was like 15, 20 yards of open space in front of him that he could have gained for us and just decided to fair catch. I don't know. And that's actually why I got him mentioned in the losers from today. Nate Herbig, we've been talking about him throughout the show. Fautanu, little bit. He looked good in the run game, but then pass game, he had some trouble. Actually, both guys on the right side. Even Broderick had some troubles with Daniil Hunter early on in this game. And then the defense overall, I think it was just lackluster from start to finish. But what are you guys thinking? What do you guys have for winners and losers from the game? Is there anyone I missed? I'll be honest, man. After we took out Justin Fields, probably it was end of first quarter, midway through the second quarter. This game was a snooze fest, man. It really was. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is different about this preseason versus maybe the last two seasons, but these late games or the late game situations in this one just weren't as exciting. I don't know. Maybe it's because we at least had Kenny's rookie season, and then last year, I'm trying to think. Why did it feel like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe late in last year's preseason games weren't that exciting. It was just that the beginnings of the preseason games were so exciting. It made up for whatever was going on in the third or the fourth quarter. But man, yeah, this felt like this was just a snooze fest, man. It really was. Bonta 36. George looked good. So did Nick Herbig. Nick Herbig's a good name to bring up. Yeah, for sure. He looked good. And Pickens, yeah, it's Pickens. But that feels the Pickens connection was prevalent, and that's what we've been talking about all throughout training camp. Fields, he's been looking good, but part of the reason he's been looking good is because he's been knowing how to get George Pickens the ball and get it to him at a high clip. Pick Hims 14 says, I swear Sean McVay said Van Jefferson is primed for a breakout. Might be. Dude, he's looked good so far, man. I'm telling you, because I was actually at training camp, got to see him. A lot of reports coming from training camp, too, is like he's solidified himself as wide receiver, too. He's getting open. I'm not seeing him dropping anything either. Like, he's looking like a legit professional. And then to have these two catches, I'm counting that second catch. I don't care what anyone says. To have these two catches for 30-something yards in the first two series just like that, not bad at all. Not a bad showing from Van Jefferson. I still think we need Aiyuk, though. That doesn't change anything about Aiyuk. Pickham's 14 says, I'm surprised Rise Plumlee didn't play at all. Yeah, same. I actually thought Tomlin was going to throw him out there for the final draft. Not play him the whole game. There's every opportunity to play him. But, we're down 8. We get the ball, no timeouts with a minute something left. Let's throw the undrafted rookie out there. Let's see if you can get us a game-winning drive. Or I guess it can't be a game-winning drive. It would have been game tying. And the game just would have ended, right? Preseason will just end in a tie. They don't go to overtime or anything. But that's if we would have got the 2-point conversion. I thought Tomlin was going to do something like that and give a good smirk about it. Bonta 36. Adams was a guy I really didn't want back, but a sack and a batted ball, and if I remember, a tackle or two maybe. Yeah, Montravius Adams looks good. I was happy we brought him back. I had the opposite reaction to you whenever we re-signed him because he's been solid for us, man, these last 2-3 seasons, and he's really he's not a true nose tackle, but that's his primary position, and we don't really have anyone else on this roster that gives that style of play to that degree. I guess Fehoko, but he's not as good as Montravius Adams. Keanu Benton, maybe is the closest thing. But, yeah, Montravius is like our starting nose tackle. He's been our starting nose tackle, at least on the depth chart. Now, it's almost like the Tyson Alualu thing. Like, he's listed as the starter, but he's getting 20%, 30% of the snaps because we don't do a ton of base personnel out there. 1-0 Creation said Adams made his presence known. Absolutely. Pickham's 14 says there's no doubt I'm not going to be worried about our run game personally. Wait, you got two negatives here. There's no doubt I'm not going to be. Okay. You're saying, oh, man, I don't know what you're trying to say here. Are you worried about our run game? I think you're saying, yeah, you're not going to be worried about the run game. There's no doubt I'm not going to be. Yeah, I get it. I get it now. You had me there for a little bit. Yeah, run game should be good. I think it looked good. Like even the early series with the starters with Najee, Jalen Warren. Yeah, the only thing that killed it, those bad snaps killed us. And then some of the pressure they got on Fields. I don't think we really had a running game problem. Pickham's 14 says it's easier to go from Wilson to Fields than Fields to Wilson. In that case, Wilson is QB1. Right. And I think it was the same way with Mitch in Kenny's rookie season. Easier to go from Mitch to Kenny than start with Kenny, the rookie, the first round pick, and then say, this ain't looking good. Let's go to Mitch. But Kenny, we still believe in you. Don't worry, you're still our franchise. So I'm with you on that. I think it's very similar too, because at that point, I felt like Mitch was going to be the starter pretty much no matter what. I wanted it to be an open competition. I would have went with Pickett personally, but I thought Tomlin had his eyes set on starting with Mitch and then seeing how the season goes. And if Mitch wasn't playing up to par, then you'd put in Kenny. But there was no reason in his mind to rush Kenny out there. Almost like I don't think he's really looking to rush Fields when you have a Russell Wilson. If we only had Fields, if it wasn't Russ and Fields, I think that's a different story. But when you have these two options, you can't really make a bad decision. And you definitely can't make a bad decision going with Russ over a Justin Fields when Russ is so much more proven. Lakers Grayson, he's got it laid out for us, says winners, GP, Peyton Wilson, Nick Herbig, Connor Hayward, yes, he did catch a touchdown, and Montravius Adams. Losers, Nate Herbig, kick return team, yes, special teams unit all around, yes, my man Matthew Wright missed the field goal. No, it was an extra point. I can't defend him anymore because the thing I always could have in my back pocket when I'd say, Matthew Wright, good kicker, like Boz better watch out. And I'd say it jokingly. It was tongue in cheek because Boz is the guy. But the thing I'd always have in my back pocket is I've never seen Matthew Wright miss a kick as a Pittsburgh Steeler. But now I have, so I can't really defend him anymore. Lakers Grayson says additional loser 2024 rule changes. Which one are you talking about? I mean, I like the kickoff. I like it because it makes you actually have to kick the ball and play and do a kickoff the way it was supposed to be done, not just touchbacks. Yeah, I mean, how many? There really hasn't been many actual kickoff plays we've seen over the course of however many seasons recently. Just all touchbacks. The kickers just boom them to the back of the end zone. Tyler Minnick's in the house. What's poppin', dude? 1-0 Creation says, I think every time our D made a good play, we were so excited about the play we got beat on the next play. Yeah, that's, you know what? That's a decent point. That is a decent point because it's weird when you think about it. We did have some good plays on defense. We had good moments. Ryan Watts almost had a pick. We had some good sacks, had some good plays in the run defense, some tackles for loss. And then, yeah, there'd be a big play given up shortly after. Tyler Minnick says Peyton Wilson was moving. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, he looked good. Played the part. Had a hiccup or two here or there, but it is what it is. All right, any additional thoughts? Preseason game 1. Like I said, maybe this was a good heat check moment for us because not only I have this stat for you guys. Not only have we won our last 6 preseason games before this one, we've been 6-0 over the last 2 seasons in the preseason, 2022, 2023. We've actually been 11-0 point blank period in our last 11 preseason games altogether. 11-0. Won our last 11 preseason games. So 2022, 2023, 6-0. And then if you go to 2021, Ben's final season, we went 3-0 that year too. So 9-0. And then 2020, that was COVID year, no preseason games. But the year before that, in 2019, We lost our first preseason game, but we won our last 2. So that's 11 in a row we've been on. 11 in a row. I think we were due for a preseason loss. 1-0 Creations. All right, final question here. He says, what do you think about the PI call on JPJ? It kind of was. I think it kind of was. Oh, so do you agree? And that's why you're asking, you think his hands could cost us in some key situations or too early to tell? I think that's the gift and the curse with JPJ right now. Until he shows that that's not a part of his game anymore. And I think it's always going to be a little bit part of his game. But until he refines that and can really make that an optical illusion for the refs and make them think he's not holding, I think it's just always going to be a part of it. It's the risk you take, because there was, I think, at one point last year he did cost us a touchdown with one of his pass interferences. Was it against the Cardinals? Tyler Minnick says it's preseason. The wins don't matter. Watching these young guys make some plays and develop the team as a whole is what's most important. Yeah, that's the perspective we need, man, because I think maybe the last preseason or two, we didn't have that perspective. We used to always have that perspective. When Big Ben was our quarterback for 18 years, these preseason games didn't matter at all, right? These last couple of years, when you have some uncertainty at quarterback, when you're not too sure about your coordinator, and just a lot of things with the team, when the team's in flux, when there's new players, new additions, lots of changes, uncertainty at the quarterback position, then you do hang your hat on preseason. But last year was a nice reminder that we shouldn't, because it's preseason. It's not the greatest of indicators for what's going to happen in the regular season. Could it tell you something? At least you, like last year, at least we saw good things, right? It's better than seeing bad things. I'll put it to you that way. It's better to see good things than bad things. It's better to see the black and gold do good, score some touchdowns, put up some points, kick some field goals, and win games than not seeing it. There's no doubt about it. But for our ultimate goal, and that's first winning regular season games, winning divisions, and then, going on playoff runs and winning Super Bowl, for those type of goals that are really going to matter, let's not put too much stock in what's going on in preseason. 1-0 Creations says Kenny Pickett had a touchdown. I did see that. And we'll close it off with that comment. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay chilling, man. Go Steelers. And peace.